What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we have update 1.1.2 coming to Destiny 2. And this is the one bringing in a bunch of raid mods as well as Masterwork armor. We're also having the Iron Banner this week. But Bungie have just published the patch notes for this update, and there are a few unexpected changes in here, which I'm sure some of you guys will want to know about, so I'm going to break them down in this video. They do talk about armor Masterworks, which have just made their way into the game. On top of this, the raid has a bunch of changes to its loot systems, as well as the new raid mods. We've heard about that quite a bit already, and I will be covering that stuff in more depth here on the channel. You can also read the patch notes, which I'll link in the description box below, but I'm going to start out with some Sandbox changes. These aren't kind of big Sandbox tuning changes, the stuff that we're expecting for PvP and everything like that, but these are more just fixes to some certain issues. So we have the Prometheus lens. The Flame Refraction perk now generates ammo instead of pulling from reserves, and on top of this, they've increased the weapon's base damage, so it should be pretty good now again. For the Lucky Pants, they fixed an issue where the illegally modded holster perk could provide infinite ammo, and fixed an issue for Ophidian Aspects where the Cobra Totemic perk did not function properly when using weapons with the Quick Draw perk. For the I Am Alive, which is the grenade launcher from the Eater of Worlds in the Leviathan, they have revised the perks to include a second perk trait, which is Moving Target, and they've removed the Augmented Drum and High Velocity Rounds perks from the weapon. Finally, they fixed an issue where grenade projectiles could remain indefinitely after being hit by Telesto in the Crucible. So just a few fixes and adjustments there. We do have some activity and reward changes, so I'm going to do the reward changes first because this is an interesting one. They've reduced the amount of XP required to earn Illuminated Engrams from 160k to 120k, so they've finally adjusted that XP a little bit, and we will be able to earn Illuminated Engrams a little bit more regularly. We'll have to see how this plays out in game, but let me know your thoughts on that. But the Crossroads emblem now correctly displays the collections for players who have earned the emblem. I'm going to pick out a couple of other interesting ones from this list, including a fix for 3 of Coins, which was not increasing the chance for exotic rewards when players were completing public events on Mercury. On top of this, Heroic Strike completions now have a greater chance of granting exotic rewards. And as you can see, there are a few other minor fixes there in the list as well. Once again, you can check these out in the link below. They do have some miscellaneous fixes, including Gleaming Boon of the Vanguard price, which has been reduced from 350 to 250 Bright Dust, and the same for the Gleaming Boon of the Crucible, reduced from 750 to 600 Bright Dust. Those things were certainly pretty steep, so this is certainly a bit of an improvement. They also fixed an issue where challenges were not appearing within quick play, also an issue where Masterwork cores and mod components were not being forwarded to the Postmasters Lost and Found, and as you can see, there are some other bug fixes, some crash fixes. But for the UI, they did fix an issue where Akora would display a waypoint in error, so finally that thing's being fixed. Players in social spaces receive a notification when their Postmaster Lost and Found is full, so that's an interesting change. And also there's another change there. Masterwork weapons and armor now display a gold border when being viewed in the Postmaster Lost and Found, so that's pretty useful as well. But for activities, they fixed a problem where warp gates did not always function when players were completing Heroic Mercury adventures, fixed an issue where grenade damage increased was not being shown on Heroic Adventure modifiers, and revised some of the descriptions for Heroic Adventures to properly state availability. Mercury challenges are now available during adventures, and Heroic Adventures are no longer automatically selected at weekly reset. Here's an important one: revised the Lost Sector reward throttle from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, so they've actually reduced that lockout time by half. The lockout is still there, but it's going to be nowhere near as present, especially when you're using that stuff for things like the faction rally, so it is a positive change. We'll have to see how it feels when we actually play the game. And then, like I said, they do have 2 sections about Masterwork armor and the raid changes, so certainly some pretty interesting changes there. I think some of them are absolutely pretty positive. The Lost Sector change is good, the XP in particular is pretty good, as well as seeing exotics more often in Heroic Strikes. And I think some of the basic currency changes, especially with those Vanguard and Crucible boons, is, you know, it's a good thing. So that is a loose breakdown of all of the most important stuff inside of this patch, guys. If you're looking for more specific issues, once again, I will link the patch notes below so you can kind of read through them. But if you have found this quick update useful, a like is very much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe. I will keep you guys posted with a whole bunch of other content inside of this update. For now though, I appreciate you watching as always, and I will catch you very soon.